2. All right, welcome back to the podcast. My name is Aaron.
And my name is Chris.
And my name is Ed.
Hi, Adam, who laughed before he said his name. All right, so Chris went and saw the latest Tom Cruise movie. He's really excited to talk about this. So as a part of our opening, we'll turn it over to Chris to tell us why Top Gun Maverick is the best movie of all time and probably needs to win all the Academy Awards.
Yes, it should.
Why?
Oh goodness, y'all got to listen to this now because we're gonna go a little bit into this. So, me and my wife, I saw the first Top Gun about 2-3 weeks ago, right?
Okay. For the first time ever.
For the first time ever.
Okay.
And I was like, well, that's good. Oh crap, he died. Oh, that's so sad. Darn, why did they do that? So then in the new movie, I'm not going to give away too. Okay, screw it. I'm going to do it.
Yeah,
anyway.
go ahead. It's been out for several months. There's no spoiler.
Spoiler
alert if you're listening, but whatever.
Yeah.
You're on your own.
We don't care. So the guy's name is Rooster. That's the
son of whatever.
Son of the guy.
Yeah.
That died.
Yeah.
So him and Tom Cruise or Maverick.
Right, Maverick.
They have this issue where he pulled him out of something. He pulled his stuff out of the Naval Academy and set him back like 4 years. So he's ticked off about that.
Okay.
But man, the flight scenes in this movie, OMG, they were incredible.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard people were like,
"Holy crap!" And the loudness.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah,
it was so good.
The sound design.
Yeah,
and that's when you watch those kinds of movies
good.
like that feature like the Navy or the aircraft or whatever, like it. The importance in those movies is to make you feel like you're there.
Exactly.
And that's when you know you've got a good sound designer, you've got a good sound crew who are just literally, their job is to make it just that good.
Immersive, man.
That's awesome. What was your favorite moment from the Maverick?
Okay, so my favorite moment was when, so as y'all know, Iceman is Val Kilmer.
Yep.
And Val Kilmer dies in this one. Spoiler alert.
Oh, the Admiral dies?
Yeah, the Admiral dies. But it was happy at the same time. But my favorite part is when they were, so their job is to fly in and blow up a bunker, right?
Yep.
What was it? A nuclear bunker.
Yeah.
Where they had some iridium or tritium or tritanium.
Some exciting scientific name that we're not even going to try and pronounce.
Yeah, it's plutonium. That's the word.
There it is.
So basically what happens is they have to send a missile to blow up the entrance, the vent.
Yeah.
And then they have to send missiles into the bunker.
Right.
And then their laser fails. So they have to do everything manually.
Okay.
That was the best part. And them coming out, because they have to do almost a vertical climb, which is like they hit 10 Gs.
Yeah, it pushes.
That's like having an elephant on your chest.
Right.
Or
Gs. 2 elephants.
Or
probably.
5.
Yeah, 5 or 10,
but
depending.
I think that's what the movie's strength was. The story was really good.
Yeah.
Me and Aaron's talked about this 1,000 times.
Yep.
The story's got to be good.
Yep.
It's got to follow a set of guidelines that I like to go by.
Yeah.
And most movies don't do that. But this one did. It's incredible.
And like it's interesting, a lot of the reviews and a lot of people that talked about it were like it was even better than the original.
Yes.
Like they built on the mythology of the original movie, the original characters, but it was so much better.
Oh my goodness.
The attention to the details. Now obviously it's a blockbuster summer movie, so
it is.
Bring your popcorn. There's some checking of your brain at the door. But what people said is like, it actually does a respectable story.
It does.
And respectably honors the past movie and the mythology within that.
Yep.
And so it was it's on my list of things to go see and check out.
Oh my goodness.
Because it's really been. So there you go. There's our recommendation. If you haven't seen Top Gun Maverick, check it out. It's probably already on direct-to-video or
it's not
streaming. Oh, it's not yet?
I want to buy it, but they won't let me buy it.
They won't let you buy it. Well, darn those companies. And speaking of movies, you should probably see. You'll catch the review that we talk about on the Nerds by Screenlight podcast. That's either already out or is coming out. The Batman with Robert Pattinson is worth your time.
Is it really?
It is that good. Like between me and James, we basically said it was one of the top 5 Batman movies of all time. It was that good. So if you haven't watched it yet,
awesome.
And it is available on HBO Max, I believe.
Yep, it is.
So give it a watch. It's a long movie. It's like 2.5 hours, but it is a nearly pitch perfect Batman movie from start to finish, and it makes you want more of it. Like, you want to see more of Robert Pattinson in the role, and you want to see more of the world that they build. So, with those 2 movie recommendations, we're going to come back after the intro music. We have Stellaris, Last of Us, the original, Metal Gear Revengeance, Dying Light 2, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, and Elden Ring, plus probably lots more when we start to actually talk about it. So hold on, grab a cup of tea, strap in if necessary, put all hands and feet inside the ride at all times, and get ready for the county. What do we call the county nerds? County game.
Something like that. We don't know what we're called.
We don't know who we are. We don't know what year it is, and we don't know who the president is. But we're going to have a conversation here in a moment. Yep. So grab your Ginkgo biloba. That's getting cut out. That's not going to work. Grab your memory. I don't even know. Just play the music. Good grief. All right, welcome back to the podcast after that tumultuous opening moment. Heavily edited, I might add. So both me and Chris, what I love about the County Gamers is I've given Chris a lot of games to play. Because Chris, and you've talked about this in the past episodes, that you've always been this kind of a guy.
Yeah.
You've only played this kind of a game.
Exactly.
Until recently, as you started to kind of look and go, wait, this is possible. This is what gaming is.
Yep.
This is what I can get into.
Yep.
And so I want to give credit to the podcast for both myself and Chris.
Yep.
Because there's games that I've said I will never go back and play, or I don't want to play, and I've actually kind of come over to the point of like, okay, I'll go and play it now.
Yep.
So we're going to talk about Stellaris. Stellaris is a grand strategy game. It comes out of the Paradox umbrella, which Paradox has produced a lot of grand strategy, from city builders to World War II simulators.
Yep.
To Crusader Kings 3. They it's not that they own it, but they pretty much have carved out a corner of it, because not many other gaming companies have managed to craft such interesting and deep kind of story play.
Yep.
The Total War series has tried, but it has kind of faltered recently, and it's kind of been sad a little bit. So Stellaris is a grand strategy. It's not a it's a 4x4 strategy, and you basically take control of an empire in its beginning, and you can make it a big piece of space or a small piece of space. And you can have different empires, and you basically try to either do it by peace, by war, by diplomacy, by corporations, and you basically try and take over the galaxy through various elements. There are about, 5 or 6 DLCs that have been released. I picked up Overlord. I haven't really played with the features of Overlord. There's a lot of flack out there, a lot of reviews that are unhappy about how Overlord was structured. I don't know if they fixed it yet, but I haven't run into those features yet. So I'm going to turn over to Chris to talk about his experience, why you started playing Stellaris, what your experience has been, and what do you think? Are you going to keep playing it or whatever?
So, everybody, let's get into Stellaris.
Hi, Chris.
Hello, Aaron.
Let's begin our session. Tell me about your Stellaris experience.
So, everybody, Stellaris is a really good game. I like it because it's a very grandioso type of game. Yeah. It's very large, and it is confusing as crap. Oh my goodness, it's so confusing. I
love Chris's reviews of games because they're generally not like, oh yeah, I want to play that. I'm just imagining on the box of Stellaris, confusing as crap. Chris Sherrill. Okay, all right. Well, I want to buy the game because it's confusing. That's a selling point. Oh. But why is that a good thing? I guess.
So, for me, I'm a very curious person.
Yeah.
And when you give me something that's confusing, I want to make sense of it.
Yeah.
So that's where I think Stellaris has a strength is you get involved in the game, and you see your little ship go from here to here. I'm holding up my fingers going from point to point, y'all. That's what I'm doing right now. So you see your little ship move across to a point that you say, And then you see it start scanning planets. You're like, dude, that is the coolest crap ever. And then you see this little icon that pops up and says, ooh, we found something on here. I'm like, ooh, what is that? That's, I think, for me, that's where I like this game, is that it piques my curiosity. It grabs my interest. And I would talk weird, but I'm not going to again. But it's just a good game, man. It's. I think that this one could have almost unlimited value in terms of playing it again and again and again, because you can go in any direction you want to go.
Right.
That's where I think its strength is. So yeah, I will probably play it again. I just don't know when.
Right.
Because I've been wanting to play with my brother-in-law all weekend.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and the thing about Stellaris is that you can pick a preset race of aliens, or you can design your own. And the amount of complexity,
holy crap,
within the designing of your alien race or human race or whatever, like fish race, robotic race, there are so
I'm the fish one.
With all, I'm not sure why that doesn't surprise me, but it doesn't. That's a Chris Sherrill thing.
That is a Chris Sherrill thing.
So but you can, and then you can adjust and address their, like, what they believe in. Are they a xenophobic race, or are they a race that is open to all aliens being a part of their community? Are they a militaristic? And using the varying amounts of deep kind of characteristics, that will then decide what your government looks like, and what your people and your community looks like, and your military and your economy and all of these things. So there's so much. And people out there will probably say, well, is it kind of like a micromanaging game? Because the biggest complaint a lot about these world-building games is there's so much micromanagement.
Yeah.
Within Stellaris, it's up to you how much you want to micromanage.
That's exactly right.
And so you can create a race of aliens or whatever that requires you to kind of maintain them. Or you can create where you don't have to worry about it, where there's less complications in how they operate in the world. The nice thing is that the HUD, or I guess you could call it the UI, is fairly... It's come a long way. And it is really easy to click on things and find stuff and get what you need to get.
Yep.
The game it doesn't pause. It's not a turn-based game. Nope. It moves. And so when you're like sending out science ships to go survey systems, you're getting a lot of notifications. And at certain points, I have had to pause the game and be like, okay, I have to keep up, because I got 3 notifications of aliens that are hailing me, and if I keep going, I'm going to lose them. So I got to pause, engage those, and then I can move forward.
Yep.
The other thing is that you can design your own ships.
Yep.
You can put together that whole process. So it's a deep game, and it is complex, but it is a lot of fun. And like you say, you have to have time to devote to it.
You do.
Because it does, you start out with just your planet, but then you have to build science ships, and those science ships have to survey.
Yep.
You also have to do research. So you have to research technology. You don't start out with everything. And it takes a long time for that research to be completed. So you end up like saving the game and coming back to it throughout like a month or longer if you really want to play this game properly.
Yep.
Now, I freely admit I use a trainer. I cheese. Like I guess you could call it cheating. I'm not competitive. Like I want to experience the full game and be able to do everything. So I have done that in past games with Stellaris.
Yep.
But it is fun to kind of go through the research tree and to kind of play it like you're trying to get. And I've run up against enemies who've taken out my science ships, and so I now know, okay, I've got an enemy in that quadrant, and I gotta build up my navy or my ships or whatever to go fight them and clear them out, because they represent a danger. So there's just so much going on.
There is.
And you can change the settings so there's no enemies that are kind of like hanging out there. So there's a lot of different ways to play the game, and that's what I love. We've talked about this before. Having an avatar that represents you and you're able to customize what that world looks like, that's a lot of fun. It's a story to be told.
It is a story. It's a story that isn't there yet.
Right, and you get to craft it.
Exactly.
You get to build that story, and that, for me, is just, like, I love that kind of game. Like, I was itching to go back to Dragon Age Inquisition this weekend.
It's a good game.
Because I love the story I get to tell in it. And there's so many choices, and with all the DLCs that have come out, after, and it's a complete game now.
Yep.
I just think like, oh man, it'd be so much fun just to go back and start. It's the same thing with Witcher 3. I have played The Witcher 3 so many times over again and gone back into that game because it is so rich, so well designed, and I get to do it's that fun. I get to have fun.
I get to have fun, yeah.
And that's like a rare thing in a game these days.
It is. Oh, it's sad to say, but it is rare.
It is. All right, well, speaking of fun, I don't know if that's what you're going to talk about. We're going to shift over to The Last of Us, the original game, the first game, not the second one that really didn't do so well with a lot of people.
Yeah.
We're not going to get into the controversy because that's not what this
Yeah.
show is about today. The conversation we want to have is about The Last of Us as the original. And Chris, what did you have for Last of Us?
So, just to give you all a backstory, I went out and bought a PlayStation 3.
Yep.
Woo, woo, woo.
Like recently?
Yeah, shout out to PS3. Yeah.
Okay.
So I bought 2 brand new controllers.
Okay.
And I got them for a really good price. Too.
Okay.
Brand new in the box.
Wow.
And so I spent like 2 weeks
Okay.
waiting for everything.
Yeah.
So I really dedicated some time to this.
Okay.
And I said, I want a PS3. I'm going to play The Last of Us. So
Yeah.
I bought the game.
Yep.
And then I bought a whole nother bunch of games too, but that's a whole nother story.
Right.
But The Last of Us, I put the game in, and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, I've never played this game before. Why have I never played this
Right.
game before?
Yeah.
And just okay, y'all got to go back to when the PS3 came out, when this game came out.
Yeah.
At that time, graphics were not what they are today.
No.
Today, the graphics look amazing.
Yeah.
They're realistic, photorealistic,
Yeah.
some of them.
Yeah.
Especially some of the new PS5 stuff I'm seeing is
Yeah.
like that new game with that redheaded lady in it. What's it called?
Yeah, that's the game.
The bow and arrow lady with the robot. The robot
Horizon
animal.
Zero Dawn.
Exactly.
There we go.
That game.
Your Google search history must be the most amusing thing in the world.
Oh, it is.
The game with the redheaded lady, and the Google's like, I have no idea,
I don't
Chris.
know what you're
What?
talking- You'd actually be surprised. Their AI is pretty good.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt. All right, so Horizon Zero Dawn. Yeah.
Yeah,
Legit.
it is.
That
legit.
when that game trailer premiered, people lost their minds.
Oh, it was incredible.
They were like,
yeah.
"This is an actual game that you're
Yeah.
actually going to be. We're going to be able to play this game."
Yeah.
And that game shook. It shook the
It
foundation.
looks real.
It does, and it plays well. Like not
Yeah.
just the visuals,
Exactly.
but the mechanics and how it all interlocks together.
Exactly.
That's
yeah.
when you know a game company has figured it out. So, Last of Us.
So
Part 1.
So if you think about this, the games they have now are photorealistic.
Yeah.
Ray tracing makes games way better.
Yeah.
It looks really good.
Yeah.
I have a video card with ray tracing. Trust me, it
Yeah.
looks really good.
It's the business.
And so back then, though, they were coming off of, like, say, the PS2, stuff like that. And when they went to the PS3, they're having 1080p graphics. Think about the difference between the PS2 and the PS3.
Yeah.
So the PS3, when that came out, it was incredibly good.
Yeah.
It was very, I remember
it
when it came out.
It was a step up.
It was. And so these days, I just think, I don't know, I'm nostalgic because I never played that game, but I played
Right.
the PS3
Yeah.
SOCOM.
Oh, okay.
I played that game a lot.
Okay.
And there was others too. But
Well, and I can remember I bought a PS3. I had not owned a PS2,
yeah,
or if I did, it was like a secondhand own. I bought it from somebody.
I did too.
But
yeah.
I bought a
Yeah.
PS3 either for, like somebody like donated or I got it. I bought it, and it was like that was night and day. This was the new thing.
It was. Yeah.
And then when the PlayStation 4 came out, that was even bigger and
It
better.
was
Like
better,
it was
way
an
better.
evolution in gaming.
It was evolution.
And it literally, I mean, I hate using that word because it's been overused so much, but it quite literally shifted gaming.
It did.
PS4 changed, and the way that the gaming companies were able to use the inner workings of the PlayStation 4
Yeah.
and all that stuff in there to really do what they could, the best that they could do was mind blowing.
Oh, it was. Yeah. And I mean, and that's what I'm getting at is that The Last of Us, if looking at it now, it doesn't look that grandioso, but back then, that was like the new junk, man. That stuff was like, it was special.
Well, and the thing about Last of Us, it looked good graphically,
It did.
but the thing that helped it was that the storyline and the characters,
Yeah.
it had weight.
It did have
It had,
weight,
like
yeah.
you were cheering for those characters.
You
You
were.
were like, this is what I'm, and you had choice and you had ability.
Yeah, there you go.
And that to not go to not go into too much detail, those elements were not present in part 2
They weren't.
for a lot of folks.
Yep.
And so the reason for a lot of the controversy with part 2 is a lot of the choice and the character, the true character like the pieces of the character that were evident in part 1
Yeah.
suddenly were just gone in part 2.
Darn.
And things happened in part 2 that people just they lost their minds.
Yeah.
Because they took it, and there's this idea of subverting expectations. We've seen it in movies recently, and we've seen it in games as well. Like, we're going to subvert your expectations. It's like, and we've had this conversation. I don't need you to subvert my expectations.
Nope.
I need you to make a good game with a strong narrative and a game that I want to continue to play and even go back to.
Yeah, do the best you can do.
Well, and that's the thing I think a lot about a lot of these games now is I don't want to go back and replay that game. Cyberpunk 2077, I have not finished that game.
No.
I don't think I ever will.
I don't know anybody who has.
I don't think I ever will finish it because it's like I go back in, they're like, oh, we've patched it, we fixed it. It's like, no, you haven't.
It's still broke.
It's still broken. It's still not great, and it's still a disaster. And so, but here's the funny thing. That same game studio produced The Witcher 3, a game that I treasure in my top 5 of all-time computer games. It's just that good with the DLCs and the narrative and the history, and oh my gosh, it's incredible.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Dragon Age Inquisition. It's done so well, so much that you want to go back and replay it. You want to relive that adventure.
Yeah.
That's the power of a good game. And I will freely admit, I haven't played The Last of Us Part 1. I have watched plenty of gameplay videos.
Oh, yeah.
And I have a healthy appreciation
It's pretty good.
for the solid power of that game.
It is good.
Anything else you want to add on the Last of Us original?
I like watching my boys play it.
Okay.
Because I let them play it, too.
Nice.
They're pretty good at it.
Do you enjoy it, Adam?
I finished it.
You finished it. How did it feel to finish that game? Good.
Well, don't put that into words.
So, to be clear, Adam was a student of mine. What is it now? 3 years ago? 4 years ago?
Holy moly!
A long time ago. Back when I started teaching, he was my second group, and so Adam was notoriously quiet. He does have a lot to say though, and when you get him talking about gaming, he can go on. Like, explain like. I don't know how to phrase the question, but explain how it felt to complete that game, like to finish it. What was that like? It was just good.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
To finish that game. The game was amazing. The zombies were cool looking.
Yeah.
The graphics were the most best thing I've ever seen because I played it on the PS4.
Oh, okay. Nice. You got the upgrade. You got the real good look.
Then.
Yeah.
Like a thing you could grab a zombie and you could either freaking
rip their head off, cut their head off, rip them down the gut.
You could strangle them or either use your knife.
Okay. So you had options. There wasn't just one way to play. There was so many different, and I love that about games. I love that about a good game.
Yep.
It doesn't just give you the linear path.
Yep.
You can choose to go elsewhere and somewhere else. All right, so next on our list of games is Metal Gear Revengeance.
Yeah.
Is that yours, Adam? That's your game?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
Talk about
All right.
Revengeance.
So, when I first saw someone playing it or like a YouTuber playing it, it was the most best thing I've ever seen. So, the thing for
I'm listening. You can keep talking.
Keep on
I'm trying
talking,
to spit
Bubba.
it out.
We're listening.
So in this world, the government has gone all to crap. Everything is terrible
So
there.
the one we're in now, right?
Oh, Chris. Let the boy speak.
So there are these things called cyborgs.
Okay.
They are mechanically changed samurais or humans.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
There is one sword in the thing that is a high energy sword. You can shoot it out of the gun. There's like a little trigger.
What?
You could shoot it out
crazy.
of the sheath.
Okay.
That sounds pretty cool.
And basically in there, everything has gone terribly wrong,
Yeah.
and the people can now basically just put nanotech into their body.
Oh. So
Is
kind of
there-
like Cyberpunk, where you're adding in additional stuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
because there is one guy that he's called the Senator.
Okay.
Oh.
He's trying to run for
President
something
or
mayor,
whatever.
I think.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Or senator.
Some position in government.
Yeah. He wants to change it. He wants to change the rules and try to make it better.
Okay. Better being like his
Better?
version of better?
Like his
Yeah.
better.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
So the way he fights is he could basically harden any part of his body with nanobots.
That's not fair.
Okay.
Sounds
And
cool,
yeah, there's this one guy that is able to chop his arm off.
Okay.
And basically in there, everything has gone terribly wrong. And the people can now basically just put nanotech into their body. Okay.
So kind of like Cyberpunk, where you're adding in additional stuff.
Yeah, because there is one guy that is able to chop his arm off. because there's only so fast nanobots can reach your bloodstream.
Okay,
and
so
stuff.
it's like a time thing. Okay.
True.
And so there's another thing you could also do is they also created cybernated dogs.
Sorry, hold on. Cybernated dogs? Like
or-
cyborg dogs?
Yeah, or
Cyberkinetic.
tech dogs, whatever the word you call them. I don't know.
I don't know. This is all new to me. I'm just taking
Yeah.
notes.
Yeah, and there's also a what the frick's it called?
I don't know. I haven't played the game, so I would have no idea. I'm just listening to all the awesome stuff you're telling us.
So there's a guy named Raiden or Raiden. I don't know
Okay,
how to say
Raiden sounds familiar.
It does sound
Raiden or
familiar.
Raiden. I
Yeah.
don't know how to say it. So he basically takes on the Senator, Jetstream Sam, or
Mhm.
frickin' what the crap's his name? It's like a very big dude. He carries like two machete type things.
Okay.
His name is frickin' I
not that
forgot his
bad.
name.
Some guy named Sam, possibly.
Mm.
Theoretically.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Good Lord.
So it's basically, I think, a derivative of a snake a little
Okay.
bit.
Yeah. Okay. I
'Cause he
know
has, like-
Snake.
Snake.
And you could basically do the same thing in mostly all the not Resident Evils, Metal Gears.
Yeah.
You could hide in a box in that game.
Oh, I think I remember seeing gameplay where people were like, "This is amazing. This is totally new." There are also like a bunch of memes about hiding in the box and stuff like that as well. So, okay.
Yeah, there's also there's different sword types.
Okay.
Which is the one I talked about, the high energy one.
Yeah.
It's basically red, and when you pull it, as soon as you pull it out the sword or the sheath, it like electrocute red.
Okay.
Red like lightning, something comes
That
off
sounds
of it.
exciting.
Oh yeah.
There's also my dad's
Like that.
watching the thing.
Chris is currently browsing YouTube to catch himself up to this game. I love some Metal Gear Solid. Like
Yeah.
Metal Gear is a great game series.
It is.
And it I have some of the PC some of the games on my PC that I have. I played a little bit, but I need to get back into because it's kind of like it's got a rich mythology. It's got a rich history.
Mhm.
So why should, Adam, in your opinion, before we shift forward, why should someone play Metal Gear, specifically Metal Gear Resurgence or Revengeance? Sorry.
Because the graphics, the gameplay, the characters,
Mhm.
space, it's amazing.
Yeah.
The enemies, the boss fights, they look amazing. I've personally never played it. I want to.
Okay.
The weapons, basically everything about it is just,
Just that good.
yeah.
Nice. Well, there we go.
2014.
2014. Dang, that's
Yeah.
what, 6? Nope. 8 years old?
Yeah.
8 or 7.
8 years old. Dang. Well, that's awesome.
Jeez.
I will put that on my list. I think the beauty of the County Gamers here is we do talk about retro games. Like we're not talking about look at this new shiny new game. It's like sometimes the games we talk about and we revisit and we engage, they're the old ones. They're the
For
ones.
a reason.
Yeah, because they're good.
Yeah.
Because they're really really solid. There is
Wow.
I can tell you this from experience. Right now, here's your Sims 4 update. I talk about this game every so
no.
often on this podcast where here's where the Sims 4 is currently at and how much people hate it right now. So the wedding story I talked about, the wedding stories came out.
Yeah.
It was a train wreck. They patched it finally. They got it fixed. The latest game pack was the high school game pack,
Oh.
and it broke the game. Not only did the game pack break the game, but the actual update, if you didn't buy the game pack, the update that comes to the game before the pack comes out broke the game. So you had people playing who have been playing for years.
Oh,
And
no.
they have families, and so all of a sudden their things are happening and they're like, my game's broken. And some people couldn't even get the game started. It was that bad.
Oh,
So
man.
the errors, it was so and so finally EA I think finally came out and said, we're working on it, and then people were like, okay, well, the update didn't fix half of the problems. It's still broken. Like your Sims age up, right? And you can set, I want them to age up in a short amount of time, a medium amount of time, or a long amount of time. I want them to have long lives or short lives, whatever. The update somehow adjusted the code so if you had a game running in either slow or fast aging up or slow aging up, it being whatever something you did in the game aged your character up by magic.
Oh.
Like you clicked a button or you went into some feature and you came back out of that feature, your character had aged up artificially, like by leaps and bounds.
Oh, that's not good.
So like when we talk about old games, like The Sims 2 and The Sims 3 are incredible games.
Phenomenal games.
And I don't have The Sims 2 anymore, but I have The Sims 3. I managed to hold on to that. And I will go back and play that game, and it takes a beast to run it with all the expansions. That's what my gaming PC is all about.
Yep.
And it is more fun to play that game than it is to play The Sims 4. And so The Sims, like, it's so amazing that EA keeps doing this. We've talked about how much we hate EA, dislike EA, heavily dislike EA.
Heavily.
But it's like this is why, because they have an incredible game series that has an incredible history through Maxis. But they've taken it over and they're ruining it. They even spotlighted, like on the Sims, one of the previous Sims packs or whatever. It had like 20 to 30 gameplay testers, right?
Yeah.
High school pack, 6.
Why?
I don't know, but it was very apparent that they only had 6 testers versus the 20 in the previous pack. So but the theory is that they're cutting costs and trying to like.
Oh my Lord!
And that's not a thing you want to do with a property like The Sims. There's also concern that like this is just the future. Like there's not going to be any care shown, and so there's a lot of YouTubers out there. A lot of Sims YouTubers, which admittedly I watch a good portion of them, are just kind of losing their minds. They're like, this is the dumbest. This is bad. Like we used to actually like what you like. We used to be like, oh, it's a little bit broken, or oh, they made a mistake. But this is like game breaking problems that you've created, or EA, and so. The retro games that are actually built well and have a great foundation and still work to this day.
That's crazy.
Those are the good games. So The Sims 3 is a game that I will probably I've gone back and forth. I've played a little Sims 4, then I come back, and I always whenever I get to the point of like I don't want to play this anymore, it's like it's not fun. It's not any fun anymore. I have to wait. I have to play within a box that was put to restrict me, not to encourage me. And let me do my thing. And The Sims 3, I could do anything. I could go anywhere. I didn't have loading screens. And, whatever reason. Anyway, so The Sims, that's your Sims update.
So they didn't fix, they made it worse.
They made it worse. And people are mad. Right. And understandably so. Okay, so I want to talk briefly about Dying Light 2.
Yep.
So I talked about this game I played it, and I got to a point in Dying Light where I just hated it. Because it's so puzzly. Yeah. And so like you have to jump on certain things, and I just was like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore.
I remember you saying that.
And I haven't gone back to Dying Light. So I abandoned Dying Light 2 for a little bit because I was kind of just like whatever. I'm not. It's not my jam anymore.
Yep.
But then I went back and I started playing it again, and I started taking part in the main mission and everything. Here's the thing that Dying Light 2 does really, really well. It is terrible for people who hate heights. And the way that they do it and the way that the game environment is done, I was playing a game. Mind you, playing a game on a screen, not VR, not with a big 60-inch. I was playing a game on like a 27-inch monitor. And the mission is you have to go to the highest radio tower in the entire city.
Well, that sounds cool.
And you got to jump, and it's puzzly, and you got to jump, and you got to use your things. It's not just climbing. It's you got to do this and do that and do this. It was the most terrifying, unsettling, uncomfortable 30 to 45 minutes of my life. Because I don't like heights. I am absolutely, and I will say this without question, I'm afraid of heights. I hate it. I don't like it. I don't. Yep. I don't go on the plane anymore because I don't want to be in a plane because I look down and I go, I'm 50,000 feet off the ground. I'm gonna die. Like I'm no. On a train to Nopeville in the land of Nope, eating some Nope for lunch. Just ain't happening. So I went back in and I started playing the thing, and it was fine. Like okay, I'm on top of a building, whatever. I can handle that. But this point in the game takes you above and beyond anything as it's the highest point in the game.
Crazy.
And the way, like, I literally, my palms were sweating as I had to take a step back from my computer and go. It was, well, number one, if I fell, I had to start all over again, and I didn't want to do that. But number two, the way that the screen moves like Adam's doing the whole like It's like you're on this thin piece of metal thousands of feet in the air. And the game design, you as a game player, you get so immersed, you start to feel that moving sensation. I'm just like, no,
Don't move.
I don't want to do this. So it took everything I had to get done with that mission.
Good.
Because I was scared of heights, and it is scary. The like you said, the graphics, they're so realistic. It's not cartoony. It's like you're standing on a gigantically huge, tall radio tower in the middle of a city, and you're looking down and you're going, ha, 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 ha. It's that well done.
That feeling.
It's it's that well done. And so I got to the top of the tower, and I managed. It was, oh man, so at some point we're going to put a list together of all of our like top 10 lists of games, gaming experiences, gaming moments. This experience with Dying Light 2 would probably be in the top 5 of my most incredible gaming experiences of all time.
That's crazy.
Because you're so immersed.
Yeah.
And so when I got to the top and I flipped the switch, and it was like, I was like, okay, are we done? Are we done? Are we done? And then it was like, oh, now you got to go over here. You got to put on your parachute, your paraglider, and go there. And I was like,
can we not do that?
God, I hope this paraglider works. Because sometimes with the paraglider, like I'll hit the wrong button and I'll just fall and die because I'm not that coordinated in the game. But I was like, okay. I will tell you, it was the greatest relief when I jumped and the paraglide kicked out and it worked. And I was like, oh, I'm never going to go that high again. And so hopefully, fingers crossed, that's the last of the big, tall, but like that's as much shade as I throw at the Dying Light series.
Yeah.
The Dying Light 2, it actually does tell a real story. I will say this, and this is a spoiler alert, so if you haven't played Dying Light 2 and you haven't made it far in the campaign, you may want to just kind of skip through for seconds. There's a moment in this. So in the original Dying Light, you were told, okay, you have to destroy the vaccine because that they can't have it or whatever. And the logic is really flimsy.
Yeah.
But you don't have a choice. The game does not give you that power to choose whether or not to destroy the vaccine or to save the vaccine.
You have to.
You have to because it's a narrative choice that they designed. It's a railroad. You can't deviate. And that's part of why I did stop playing the game, because I was like, look, I know I eventually become the good guy, but you have made me the bad guy. As an avatar, I want to be able to choose. And you could make it so that I choose to save the vaccines, but then maybe I get attacked. Yeah. And somebody destroys the vaccines as revenge for what I did. And I'd be like, okay, cool. I tried, though. I tried to be the good guy. Something out of my control destroyed my opportunity. So then when I show up and say I destroyed, the vaccines got destroyed, I can truthfully say it wasn't me.
It wasn't me, yeah.
So that part of that game drove me to get crazy, because in that, even when that game was released, you had avatar abilities you could choose. Yeah. There was, you choose here, you choose here. And Dying Light has a weird history with that, because they did give you the chance to choose.
Yeah.
But this particular moment, it was like, no, you don't get to choose. And I was like, I feel like a jerk now. In Dying Light 2, there's a moment. And so in Dying Light 2, your character is suffering from some medical experiments that were done on him. And he transforms into an insanely powerful monster who can just rip people apart because of his experiments that were done on him as a child.
Cool.
Yeah, pretty cool. And there are moments where the game kicks into transformation mode, and you don't have a gun, you have your hands, and you're just able to destroy all the bad guys. However, there's a moment in the campaign, and later it's later on in the campaign. It's towards the prologue, where you meet up with a scientist, and she guides you through, and you're trying to find information on your sister and everything like that. And the main bad guy shows up, and you have to run from him. And in the midst of running from him, you get some distance, but you transform into this evil, bad dude. Oh. And whereas before you chose who you attacked, the game doesn't give you a choice. You murder and rip apart the doctor, who you've been helping, who is a good girl, who is a good guy, a good person, whatever, a good character. I was so mad at that point.
Oh, darn.
I almost rage quit. I was like, you have got to be kidding me. Like, you don't give, because you had choices in the game where it's like you had 30 seconds to decide who to help. And whoever you helped affected the impact of the narrative.
That's pretty cool.
But this moment, I wasn't given a choice. I killed her. My character, in his alternate identity as a monster transformed, killed her. And there's no question that you did it. Like, it's not like the bad guy did it for you and then blamed you. No, you absolutely murdered her.
Oh, that sucks.
And I know that there's people out there like, it's just the narrative, you need to get over it. I'm like, yes, but here's the deal. If you put me in an open world game and give me choice and allow me to choose, it's either one or the other. You don't get to do some choice and then no choice. Like, as a game designer, maybe you figure out a way that like he resists the urge to transform.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to hurt her.
There
But
you
then,
go.
then the bad guy comes along, hits him with something that artificially accelerates his transformation.
Like the Hulk.
And like, yeah, and then and within that, he then says, "You will do this, destroy her." And because of the influence of the chemical that he gave you, you then have to sit in your little mind and watch as the monster that he's inserted into you then does the horrible thing.
That would be cool.
And I would be like, okay, cool, this is not me. It's an artificial monster that's not my true self.
Yep.
But because of the narrative choice that it doesn't allow you, and it's supposed to give you, like, make you sad and make you regret and put some doubt in your heart about what you're doing. And, like, I get all, I'm a language arts teacher. I know how this works.
Yep, exactly.
But as a player in the midst of a narrative, when you've given me all of this choice,
Yep.
and suddenly now I don't, and you could say, well, that's the whole idea because you lose control and the virus makes you not be who you are. It's like, yeah, great, but you didn't start, like, that's not the theme that you've been laying on.
Yeah.
That's not an element
it.
that you've talked about.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's you're transforming, something's happening to you, but the way that it's been sold as a feature in the game is you use it to defeat the bad guys. You use it to Hulk out and then toss them and turn them and destroy them.
Yeah.
Cool, great, yeah, okay, good. But in that moment, suddenly, that curse / that ability is now used to hurt somebody.
That's
And it's a
wrong.
meaningless death for me. Because that scientist lady, while she had a conflicting past within the system, like, she didn't deserve that. And this is when you get into the point where you start talking about, did the game earn that death? Or did the game earn that decision?
Mm-hmm.
Did the game or the narrative or whatever you want to call it, was that earned?
Yep.
And in my opinion, it wasn't. It was another moment of like, oh, okay, look what we can do. And it's like, I don't need to see what you can do. I need you to show me how I have another identity, how there is that part of me that I can't control, but I still have to watch it happen. But it wasn't me doing it. It was the scientist who stabbed me with a thing and did whatever. Like, cool, let's do that. And I know that there's people out there who's just like, you just need to get over it, and it's the way the game was done. It's like,
No.
yeah, I'm not here to say that the game should be done differently, but I'm like, I'm allowed to disagree. I paid my money, man. I played the game, and I didn't like it. I didn't like that element. I didn't like that piece of, like, this is what happened in the original game. You didn't give me a choice. You made
No.
me be the bad guy. And don't subvert my expectations. Don't do it. Like, it's just dumb. It's bad.
Yeah, it is bad.
So now I haven't gotten to the end of the game yet. I actually do want to play the end of this game.
Oh,
I'm
that's
very
good.
curious to see how it goes and my decisions and how they happen.
Yep.
And what's interesting is, and then I will start talking about something else, but like there's an element in this game where there's a character, Hakan is his name, and
Yep.
you mix it up with him in the beginning of the game. He helps you, but then you find out he's a bad guy, and you have a choice whether or not to kill him or let him go. And I chose to let him go because I was like, okay, that's grace, that's mercy, that's forgiveness.
Yep.
Okay, we'll let him go.
Yep.
Well, later on in the game, you're hanging out with, you meet a girl and she's helping you and your friends, and she tells you, well, I dated Hakan actually. We had a relationship, and then he turned bad, and I broke up with him. And he did these horrible things to my people and my friends, and I'm going to kill him. And you have a choice later in the game to allow her to kill him or to talk her out of it. I chose to let her kill him. Now, is that right or wrong? I don't know. But I made that choice.
Yeah.
As the avatar, I chose to say, you know what? She said she would be friends with me if I tried to stop her, and she deserves this closure. I don't think it'll actually help her, but I'm not going to get in her way. Her agency is allowed. I'm allowing her to have her agency. It's important that I give her this agency, and then I give that choice over to her, and I don't dictate her choice.
Yep.
That's what the game could have done in that moment with the scientist.
They could have.
But they didn't. They went another way, and I'm just like, guys, you just that one moment makes me go. It would change my rating. If my rating was 10 out of 10, they would have lost 2 points right there.
Oh, that's a lot.
8 out of 10. But here's the thing: it's either you're about choice or you're not. There's no halfway
one or
mark
the
here.
other.
You
Yep.
do it all or you don't. And if you don't, then you put me on a railroad track and I just play Time Cop. And that's cool. I'll play that arcade game and just shoot and go through the zones. That's
Yep.
fine. But you gave me choice so much, and then you took it away from me. And that's, as a gamer, and I know in the game designing front, they're like, well, we had to do that. I'm like, okay, I don't care. I'm just disagreeing with your choice. You can produce all the amazing games. And it is a good game, but I don't know. And it's still, they're going to have a whole releases for Dying Light 2 as well. They've got a bunch of season stuff coming out. So it's not a dead game yet. So anyway, that's just like,
Good Lord.
that's just a thing. Like, I would tell people to play the game now. It's like, yeah, you need to play Dying Light 2. It's a lot better than Dying Light.
Yep.
I love it. It's more polished. It's more interesting. It's more innate. It's more in depth. It's cool. But the game designers, they took my choice away, and I don't like that. And I'm sorry, as a gamer, I know you're like, Cool. Congratulations. You disagree with me. But I am a choice master. I love having choice.
Yeah.
And games that give me the power to shape my avatar story, that's the kind of game I want to play.
Well, yeah.
I don't want to play a game on a train track where I just walk through whatever and do a bunch of quick time moves. It's no good. Quick time choices, I think they call them, or whatever. Quick time, whatever.
Yeah, I think me personally, that would affect the way I play it too.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If I don't have choice now, then what does it matter?
Yeah.
Like now you're going to question: is any of the choices that I make actually going to impact gameplay?
Exactly.
Or is it just kind of a fake out? Are you building this false sense of choice?
Yeah.
That there really doesn't matter, or does it matter? For example, like in Dragon Age, the choices you make throughout the whole game series, each game ends with like a postlude, where it says, okay, this happens because you did this happens because of this, and those choices carry through each game. So by the time you get to Dragon Age Inquisition, the choices, if you've played 1 and 2, those choices impact the world that you start to play in. And the choices you then make in the world impact the end result of how the game ends. And I'm guessing with the next Dragon Age, with Dragon Age 5, which is, it'll be 4. It'll be 4. Dragon Age 4, they will have elements of the choices you made feed into the state of the world that you start playing in.
That's the way it should be.
Well, that's BioWare. BioWare is really good for the most part, except for Anthem. We won't talk about that.
Yeah, that's true.
Because that'll get me going again. But like BioWare is a master of it. They are a master of building choice and choice trees. So you choose this, you go this way. You choose this, you go that way. And so there's a lot of potential there.
It's like Fable.
Yes.
Fable that's a good game
Fable.
too.
And it's interesting. They're talking about doing a new Fable. I haven't heard anything about it. But the Fable, Fable was one of the granddaddies of choice.
It was, yeah.
It was an incredibly immersive, like open world game.
Man, it was a great game.
Solid, and you wish for more of those games, which is hopefully what they'll give us. All right, I have beaten the Dying Light 2 horse into the ground, resurrected it, Frankensteined it. This is a really weird offshoot. But did you see the story? It was a science story where doctors, they took some pigs who had been slaughtered correctly, like electrically, whatever.
Yeah.
And they're using a treatment method, which is like trademarked. And they weren't able to get their brains restarted because they didn't let that happen. But they were able to get organs in the pigs restarted and functioning after an hour or so of death, using a treatment method, using like it's like Quick Alive, or they've given it a name, but it was like the reason why they're doing that is because right now I think it's 8 minutes. If you're under 8 minutes or before, they can get you back and without brain damage. It's when the 8 minutes and 1 second kicks in, the possibility of your life and you being able to kind of come back and be functional without brain damage or body damage, whatever, it gets worse as the more time passes. Which is why when they talk about like how long has he been under, okay, 20 minutes. Well, what are we going to get back?
Yeah.
So this idea of what they're working on is a method by which if you come into the hospital and you've been down for 10 or 15 minutes without a heartbeat, they can get you back. And without too much trouble, like without severe brain damage or whatever, like the animal trials are in the process. And so that is like, it's people were making the joke about Frankenstein and this was happening.
Yeah,
but this is also how science, this is the only way that we can figure out how to keep people alive or bring people back without crossing that 8 minute barrier.
Wasn't there a movie that was kind of like this?
I don't know, and I'm not sure I want to Google it.
So basically there was this movie where this girl had died, right?
Yeah.
It was this girl's boyfriend, the guy's girlfriend had died.
Yeah.
They brought her back with an experimental drug they had created.
Okay.
And she turned into something completely different, dude. Her eyes turned black.
Okay.
She was like moving crap with her mind and killing everybody.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out what the name of it was.
I don't even know where to begin with that one.
Yeah,
it sounds like a terrifying movie.
Good movie.
Okay. I was thinking terrible, but we'll go with good.
Yeah, it was a good movie.
Okay. So there you go. There's your kind of your science moment of the show. We have these weird little moments where we talk about science every so often on the show.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know how to feel about that quite yet, because there's a lot of things about science that science does sometimes, and you're like, are we hitting Jurassic Park territory yet or not? And I don't know with this, because the goal here is not to reanimate pigs. The goal here is to save people's lives.
That's right.
And to bring them back. And the thing about science is, to do a lot of things that we like have access to in these days, it has to get ugly. it has to get uncomfortable sometimes, and that's the beauty of science. But it's also the dark side of science is that science requires tests, it requires hypotheses, it requires the scientific method.
It does,
and that's why we do like frogs in science class. That's why we do those things because we have to know what we did before to figure things out. Who was the first person to probably do those kinds of things to figure out what was the difference between us and a frog or a pig or a cow or whatever? Somebody somewhere had to get the idea. Okay, well, we have to look. So science and nature are both terrible and scary as well.
The Lazarus effect.
Yeah, they are. All right, I'm going to circle back to Ghost Recon Breakpoint. We wanted to talk about Elden Ring, or somebody wanted to talk about Elden Ring. Adam did. Talk to us about Elden Ring. What is your thoughts on the Elden Ring?
All right. Elden Ring is a beautiful game. Okay, so there is how many bosses? Like 5 or 6 bosses. It took me about freaking like an hour to do one of the bosses.
Okay.
An hour? Holy moly.
Yeah,
that's a long time.
Elden Ring it's in the Dark Souls series.
Oh yeah.
It has that Dark Souls-esque kind of thing. Yeah, it takes time.
Yeah, and there's like you could like boost yourself, you could boost your strength, your damage. And there's a lot of weapons. There's so many weapons.
Yeah, when I played it, you can pick up stuff, and like you'll find stuff in like the wreckage or whatever, and you earn things from attacking or defending or whatever. There's a lot of cool stuff, and a lot of them they're not all the same. Like they're unique to what you get, and they have unique effects. And part of what you're talking about is you build that cache of weapons, so when you eventually face off against that boss, you both have the skill level and the weapons to do the damage on the boss, so that you can win. But I've watched playthroughs of Elden Ring. I cheese. Like, again, I use a trainer because I'm not competitive, and I know the people out there just rolling their eyes. I don't care. I am who I am. Deal with it and move on.
Suck it up, y'all.
Suck it up, buttercups. But if you play the game normally, it pushes you. It makes you work for those wins. And it is a Dark Souls game because it is a Dark Souls-esque game because it makes you work for it.
That was a hard game
and it'll kill you. Like, you die, you got to start all over. You got to start from where you were. You got to get back to it, and you got to rebeat the boss. And so it makes you work. It makes you work. Anything else on that game?
Still $60.
Yeah.
Yeah. I cheated on that game.
Oh my goodness!
You pulled an Aaron.
Yeah, I got about like 3 million ruins.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
And I cheated on like. There's like some weapons that I got that did like 500 million damage or something.
Okay.
With just like one swing, it was crazy.
Yeah, I freely admit that I do, and I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay with I don't use it in multiplayer because that'll get you banned if you play cheats on multiplayer games.
Oh yeah.
There's plenty of video history to confirm that. But yeah, I need to get back into playing Elden Ring because I did buy it, and I have loved playing it because it requires me to think. It requires me to work.
Oh, that's good.
It's a lot of fun. All right, so
looks cool.
I love Ghost Recon Breakpoint. And I think I've talked about this in the past. I don't like Ghost Recon Wildlands. I'm going to try and get back into that game, and maybe I'll be okay. But for the most part, I hate Wildlands. I love Breakpoint. Here's why I love Breakpoint. The game lets me set my settings to cheat, basically. So my health is like quick. I don't get injured when I fall, and when I get shot at, I recover quickly. Like it makes for a very comfortable experience. But it's still fun to play because the world that they designed with Breakpoint, they did a heck of a job. It is really immersive, and it is incredible how they built this world. And I love this game. And I know the people out there who are like, it was the worst Ghost Recon game. But I loved Breakpoint. And it's got like 3 seasons of content. And I've reached the end, and I'm just kind of playing through the one-off missions. You can go back and reset it so that you revisit the archipelago 3 months later, and some new bad guys have moved in, and you fight those bad guys. I haven't gotten to that point yet, but it's just a fun game. Like, it's just fun to replay. Like, I will load it up, and I'll just go in and start doing things and start trying to save people, and It's just fun. It's kind of like Witcher 3, which is a weird comparison because they're both made by the same no, different companies. Witcher 3 was CD Projekt Red, and Ghost Recon is Ubisoft. May they be cursed forever because of their terrible gaming practices with their employees.
Abominators.
Yeah, but they still put out good games. Mostly sometimes.
Most of the time. Every now and again.
Every now and again. Which they're kind of like EA. Like it's a whole conversation. But yeah, I have loved Breakpoint. It's a lot of fun, and I love playing it. And I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed to say that I do. All right, super cool. Well, I think we got our game content figured out. We covered all the games we're going to talk about. Is there anything else you guys wanted to talk about, discuss, mess around with?
There's one more game.
Okay, one more game.
Far Cry 5.
Oh no.
Oh man. Far Cry 5 or Far Cry 6?
Far Cry 5.
Okay. Far Cry 5 is on my list of my poop list. I hate Far Cry 5, and here's why: is you can't win.
Yeah.
You can't.
He said that.
The game ends with a nuclear bomb, no matter what you do, no matter how good of an ending you work for.
That's so weird.
And it's dumb. Because this is the same thing with books and movies. It's like, oh, well, all of this stuff you just watched, it's a dream. Or it doesn't matter because everyone dies anyway. And it's like, why did I just spend the last hour and a half to 2 hours of my life watching this only to have it not matter anymore?
Yeah.
And with Far Cry 5, it's a fun game. I do not discount that. It is an absolute mondo fun game to play. I love playing that game. The problem is the result, the end game, is terrible. And then they play it up in the Far Cry whatever New Age, New Dawn, where your character is featured in like a side cutscene where he's basically been destroyed as a human being and all he can do is It made me so angry. I was like, how do you take all of the work that I just did as a player and just dismiss it into this little moment in the other game? It was like Ubisoft was like, hey, we're funny. We're funny. It's like, no, you're not funny. Sorry, that was a bit of a rant. Do you like Far Cry 5? Because I may have just totally destroyed your hope and dreams.
Okay.
All right, go ahead. So you like Far Cry 5?
Yes.
Why?
Because I like fighting all the it's like 3 brothers.
Yeah, the three
like
brothers
a
and one
sister.
sister. Yeah.
I like fighting them. They're actually pretty cool.
Oh yeah, no, they're like, I'm not saying that it's a well built story and that the enemies are hard to beat and it's a tough and I love the craziness of it. However, when you beat you can't win. Like it's just there's no point. Why would I even do all of that work just to have the mountain blow up on me in a nuclear bomb?
Just play the original Far Cry.
There's a second ending, I think.
Oh, the one that I didn't get to go to? Second ending.
He's going to have to go back and play it now.
No, I will not go back and play it. I'll just go find it on YouTube and watch what could have been had the game actually done what it was supposed to do.
I also tried to kill a buffalo with a shovel. That was fun.
Okay, so this is the thing about Far Cry 5. This is what they got right. That stuff, that's awesome. Like you can go up against a bear, and you'll be just running, like you'll be driving through the forest, and all of a sudden, like 15 wolves will come after you. Or like you're talking to a dude in the forest, like getting a mission from him, and a bear will just suddenly, or like the bad guys will suddenly like jump into the middle of your scene and like try and kill you. Like it's absurd. It's absurd fun.
Sounds fun.
But the problem is that the end game is what makes me not want to do it, because it's like you can't give me all this greatness, this chocolate souffle, this incredibly dark chocolate with whipped cream and just amazing, and then like go over to like no fault of their own, like to a Safeway, get me a store-bought cake and say, instead of this, made by Bobby Flay or Gordon Ramsay or whoever, and no, you get to have this.
It's made by your dog.
It's made by your dog. Yeah, if my dog made a cake, this is what you get instead of this. We showed you this. You did this beautiful gourmet $1 trillion gold encased cake, but no, you can't actually eat it because here's the dog's cake for you.
Here's a pile of poo with whipped cream on it.
Yeah, not my favorite thing. But here's the thing: they are marketing their game to you because you're a teenage boy and you love to do those crazy things. And I guarantee you, the reason why Far Cry 6 probably sold the way it did is because you have to do more of that.
My dad bought that game.
Yeah, and it was more of the same. The mechanics were the same. The way that you did things were the same as Far Cry 5. You basically, we talked about this. You copied and pasted all the features into just a new graphical world with a different bad guy and different missions, but it was all the same. And that was a big part of why there was the backlash against Far Cry 6, because we're like, we're just playing the same game. Like, there's nothing new. It's all the old stuff. You've created a monster and you can't change it. You can't do anything new because you don't want to. It's just an easy cash cow.
It's cash cow.
It's a cash grab. So there we go. We've beaten up on Ubisoft again. I think our show should be titled "We Beat Up on Ubisoft and EA."
Yeah.
It's the EA Ubisoft Hate Hour. Welcome to the program, and let's get ready. And I guarantee you, it would take us like 50 episodes to get through it all.
Oh, it would.
Of all the terrible things EA and Ubisoft have done to the game series and IPs and everything they've done. It just makes me sad because I know there's good games out there and I know they exist, but...
And you know that they have the capability to create a good game.
Oh, yeah, they do. Oh, are you kidding me? They do. They have it, but they won't do it because they don't like us. Well, they like our money. They just don't like us. All right, well, that's the end of the show, I think. We've thoroughly discussed and thoroughly discussed and with disgust the I like that Adam got that joke. Thank you, Adam, for that. I miss that. People getting my puns. And on that delightful pun drop, I don't know. I think that's the program. We will be back in a week or 2 weeks. We'll have more to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
We might start putting together some top 10 lists.
We might do it.
I think that might be cool.
Ooh, that'd be a hard one.
Like top 10 gaming experiences, top 10 levels, top 10 open world games, or top various, and we'll maybe once a week we reveal here's number 5. Okay, hey, stay tuned for next week. Here's number 4. So it's not just all in one. It's just hey, here's our number 4, and here's what we think about it. And we would have competing ideas. And all right, we just figured it out not live on the air, but on the recording of the podcast we'll bring you some top 10 lists. There's an email address if you like. You can shoot me an email. If you have comments, if you have top 10 lists you want to see us talk about, or if you have a top 10 list you want to start, or you have suggestions, you want us to talk about it, a delayedteacher@gmail.com. We are now hosted out of createatmorgan.org. Additionally, we have a podcast website that I've been putting together called createatmorganpodcast.org. You just type it in, and you can go and you can click based on the category of what the show is. You can go see a full listing, and you can listen there.
It's freaking awesome. You did a good job.
We're getting there. We're trying to build the future of podcasting here in Morgan County. We have the show Hometown Takeovers in town for the next 4 months.
I heard that.
And they are making business, and they are doing things, and they're taking over, and they're doing stuff. So we're hopeful that will continue to change the community. And if you're listening, Hometown Takeover, come in and take over our podcast and hang out with us if you're a gamer. I don't know if any of the staff or the hosts are, but we'd be happy to talk with you.
The big guy is, I'm sure.
Oh, of course, yeah. He probably has the PlayStation 6 million.
He probably does.
Well, PlayStation 5 now, even if it's in stock.
He probably does.
All right, well, my name is Aaron.
My name is Chris.
And my name is Adam.
And this has been the County Gamers. We'll get back on the road, play some games. We'll see you either on the frontage road or the exit sign here in a couple of weeks. Until then, take care, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the County Gamers Podcast, presented by Create at Morgan Productions, located in Fort Morgan, Colorado, USA. For more information on our production house, other podcasts that are hosted here, and further details, please visit www.createatmorgan.org. You can find us on Twitter at the handle CreateAtMorgan. Create at Morgan is a school club at Lincoln High School, our alternative education campus here in Morgan County. Our sponsor is Aaron DeLay, the language arts teacher at Lincoln. Send any feedback to adelayedteacher@gmail.com. Thank you for listening to our podcast.